Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Our subject is contemporary issues and trends in education. It is lecture number 30 and we will discuss about quality education and teaching. Outlines of the lectures are quality education, teaching methodology, classroom interactions, classification of questions, and reflective teaching. First of all, education. What is meant by education? Education refers to the discipline that is concerned with the methods of teaching and learning in schools or school-like environments, as opposed to various non-formal and informal means of socialization. Education discipline that is concerned with methods of teaching and learning in a school or school-like environment. It means that that should be a school or just like a school environment, as opposed to various informal, non-formal, informal means of socialization. Means rural development projects and educational through parent-child relationship. Education, this is also a process of effecting desirable changes in students' behavior. Education is the process of facilitating learning or the acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, beliefs, and habits. Educational methods including teaching, training, storytelling, discussion, and directed research. So, education frequently takes place under the guidance of educators. However, learners can also educate themselves. So, education can take place in the formal or informal settings, and any experience that has a formative effect on the way one thinks, feels, or acts, that may be considered educational. So, methodology of teaching is called, as we know, pedagogy. Direction of these changes determined by objectives of teaching. Formal education, as we know, that is commonly divided formally into such stages as preschools or kindergarten, primary schools, secondary schools, and the college, university, or apprenticeship. So, a right to education has been recognized by some government and the United Nations. In most regions, education is compulsory up to the certain age. So there is a movement for education reforms and is particular for evidence-based education. So education began in prehistory as adults trained the young and the knowledge and skills deemed necessary in their society. So in pre-literate societies, this was achieved orally and through imitations. So storytelling passed knowledge, values, and skills from one generation to the next. So as cultures begins to extend their knowledge beyond skills that could be readily learned through imitations, formal education developed. So school existed in Egypt at the time of the Middle Kingdom. Alternative forms of education have developed since the 20th century, such as distance learning, homeschooling, and many parallel or supplementary system of education, often designed as non-formal and popular. So, religious institutions also instruct the young and old alike in sacred knowledge as well as the various values and skills required for participation in social, national, and transactional societies. So, if we say that why is education important? So, education is very necessary for each and everyone in order to improve knowledge, way of living, as well as social and economic status throughout the life. So, it helps the persons to get knowledge and improve confidence level all through the life. So, it plays a great role in our career growth as well as in the personal growth. We come to the quality education. What is quality education? A quality education is one that focuses on whole child, the social, emotional, mental, physical, and cognitive development of each student, regardless of the gender, race, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, or geographic location. It perhaps the child for life, not just for testing. So, quality education provides the foundation for equity in a society. Quality education is one of the most basic public services. It not only enlightens but also empowers citizens and enables them to contribute to the maximum extent possible to the social and economic development of their communities. In quality education, sports a right based approach to all educational endeavors and based on four pillars of education and provides skills for learning to know and learning to live together and learning to do and learning to. Moreover, the views the learners as an individual and educates to create individual competency in all four roles. So there are different ways that policymakers can improve the quality of education, like acknowledge and address overcrowding, make funding schools as a priority, address the schools to prison pipeline, and raise standards for teachers, put classroom running and curriculum building decisions in the hands of community. The other point is that is locally relevant and culturally appropriate, is informed of past, is relevant to the present and prepares individuals for the future. Moreover, there are different countries, they have their best education system, like United States of America. American education system is known to be the one of the countries with best education system. Then Switzerland education system is uploaded and is included in the best education in the world list. Then Denmark, then United Kingdom, then Sweden, then Finland, then Netherlands, then Singapore. So all these countries have a very good quality education and nice education system. Quality education that builds knowledge, life skills, perspectives, attitudes and values, provide skills for employability, and that is may. Then we come to the teaching methodology. What are the methodologies of teaching? Commonly used teaching methods may include class participation, demonstration, recitation, memorization, or combination of these. So we often teach as we ourselves were taught rather than in the way we were trained to teach. Many in higher education without training and knowledge of the subject only not sufficient for effective teaching. So there are different strategies, effective teaching strategies for the classrooms, like visualization. Bring dull academic concepts to the life with visual and practical learning experiences, helping your students to understand how their schooling applies in the real world. Then cooperative learning is there. Then inquiry based instruction is there. Then differentiation is there. Then technology in the classrooms. Then behavioral management must be there. Then professional development is very necessary. So these are some effective teaching strategies for the classroom, that on the basis of these we can improve our teaching methodologies. Moreover, there are different methods for schools, like modeling. After telling students what to do, it's important to show them exactly how to do it, like mistakes, feedbacks, cooperative learning, experiential learning, student-led classrooms, class discussion, inquiry guided instructions. So all the things, these are basically what comes under teaching methodology. And teaching methodology more that many teaching skills common to all subjects, and management of teaching environment, like use of teaching material, and communication and presentation skills, and interpersonal skills, assessment. Moreover, interactive teachings, explore the link between teaching, learning and formal assessment, how we learn, compare this with the way we teach, investigate our assessment methods, effect on the quality of our students' learning, encouraging to learn for the future, not for examination alone. Interactive lectures, these lectures always make them meaningful experiences for students. Look at concentration spans, how to activate students during breaks, presentation skills to maintain interest, learning, teaching, and assessment. Ask yourself how can we understand the learning needs of students who are less able than we were? What makes students want to learn more and to continue to do so? How can the relationship between learning and assessment be strengthened? How to encourage better performance through positive and constructive feedback? Then, lecturing. Ask yourself what are the ways of making lectures more interactive? How can we improve our lecturing through student feedback? Then seminars and group discussions, they encourage students forward to compare their ideas with each other, to give expressions to their understanding of the subject, to develop skills in listening, to draw out information, to persuade others to their way of thinking, to develop cooperation and teamwork. Okay, what is meant by interactive teaching methods? Remember that there are different teaching styles that make a difference, like brainstorming. There are various techniques. Interactive brainstorming is typically performed in group sessions. And then think, pair, and share. Establish a problem or questions. Then pair your students. Then buzz sessions may be arranged. Incident process is there. Question and answer session is there. So first of all, class discussion. In class discussion means that whole group participates, then teacher leads and our coach, and then the discussions groups may also be in interactive teaching methods, like used for larger groups, and reduces anxiety, and structured for homogeneity or diversity. Teachers to circulate to ensure effectiveness. Interactive teaching methods includes group projects. And group projects, teacher as a consultant or a facilitator, and encourage skills and interpersonal relationships and negotiation and teamwork. Then in peer teaching, useful when great variance in levels of learning. Those who have mastered skills coach others, and must ensure peer teachers are competent, so can be used to master components of a task, particularly useful that is for technical subjects. Moreover, experiential teaching methods. What are these? Experiential learning is an engaged learning process whereby students learn by doing and by reflecting on the experience. So, experiential learning activities can include but are not limited to hands on laboratory experiments, practicum, field exercises, and studio performances. Field clinicals means provide a real life experience, and in field clinic, students complete tasks while being observed and are reports back and receives feedback. Then in field or clinical, they requires careful planning. Moreover, in laboratory, hands-on practice remains there, and good control by the teacher, and role playing useful for interpersonal skills, and allows practice in lower threat environment. So, if we see that what is the example of experiential learning? So, one example of experiential learning is going to the zoo and learning through observation and interaction with the zoo environment, as opposed to reading about animal from a book. So, thus one makes discoveries and experiments with knowledge first hand instead of hearing or reading about the other experiences. Moreover, how can exponential learning to be used in the classrooms. Remember that experiential learning comprises of learning activities both inside and outside the classrooms that are designed to actively engage students to learn by doing, and then reflecting on the process and experience and actively creating their own understanding. So experiential learning makes teaching more effective. Then we come to the simulations or games. Means we have to facilitate practice in all areas, and always requires well structured material and immediate feedback and highly interactive. And then in drill, repetitions of this is basically repetition of tasks to build auto response, and it is useful for lower cognitive. Then in what is classroom interaction? So social interactions plays an important role in the learning. So interacting with the other people has proven to be quite effective in assessing the learners to organize their thoughts. So reflect on their understanding and find the gaps in their reasonings. So in classroom interactions, critical thinking requires means students to think, speak, and be listened to. And then collaborative learning is required. Encourage peer-to-peer interaction and cooperation. Value of group learning: student talk, listen, quiet, and so. And moreover, in classroom interactions, designing group tasks means related to the course, related to the subsequent test, and teacher's role: monitor unobtrusively and focus on what is group discovered and not want teachers know. And in interactive classrooms, this is what interactive learning is a pedagogical approach that incorporates social networking and urban computing into course design and delivery. So interactive learning has evolved out of the hyper growth of the use of digital technology and virtual communication, particularly by students. So in interactive classrooms, encourage students interactions so that they begin class with the controversy or problem instead of we are going to cover this. So begin with, here's the questions we want to answer. Use silence to encourage reflection. Arrange and use classroom space to encourage skillful questioning. What is questioning in teaching? Questioning is a key means to which teachers find out what people's already know, identify gaps in knowledge and understanding, and scaffold the development of their understanding to enable them to close the gap between what they currently know and the learning goals. As teacher, we asked tens of thousands of questions that we already know that answers to. The only point of asking question is to raise issues about which the teachers need information, about which the pupils. Teachers use questions for many reasons. What are those reasons? To provide students with an explanation, to allow students to use prior knowledge, to check and correct, evaluate students' understanding. As a classroom management, on the students' part, questions can encourage students to review or revise work, engage in active learning and thinking, actively involve in learning process. And classification of questions. What is the classification of questions? Open questions. Open question means these questions are designed to elicit more than one possible answers, a detailed response. For example, what do you think the world would be like if there were no cars? Then closed question, designed to elicit just the required answers. For example, when was the Rustak fort built? Quality of questions. Questions should be clear. Questions should be brief and a natural and simple language. Question should thought provoking and disputed widely, and a question should having a balance between facts and thought. Then there are some effective questioning strategies are there. What are those effective questioning strategies? Wait time. This is very important that when you ask question, just wait for a few seconds. Students has opportunity to think before answering. Students are encouraged to consult with their partner or group to formulate answer. Teachers involves a number of students in the answer to a single question, creating an opportunity for discussion. For example, what do you think? Do you agree with the answer? Appropriateness of questions, fitness for purpose, quality and range of questions, opportunities for students to formulate their own questions. Now the classwork. Supervise, go around, check it, then guide assistant or pair work, and group work is also involved in classwork. Then homework is there, that type of homework like written, oral, project work or individual or group, checking, follow. Then revision is there, that revision test like oral, written, that may be a practice examination, or then remedial actions. Teaching aids involves board and marker, flashcards, charts, OHP, PowerPoint presentation, that is good for vision, and fields visits. Then reflective teaching involves that what is reflective teaching? It is a form of problem solving, thinking to resolve an issue, involves active chaining and careful ordering of ideas, linking each with its predecessors. Reflective teaching, also a reflection, is a key component of teachers' development, self-inquiry and critical thinking that helps in assessing strengths and weaknesses and taking it also reflective actions integrate with the personal attitudes like open-mindedness, responsibility, wholeheartedness, and reflective actions bring balance between thought and action. It is about using opportunity to systematically explore, question, frame and reframe, challenge on teaching, make informed choices, and reflection is the heart of good teaching. So there are some principles of reflections like teachers to be interested in the problem, issues to be owned by the teachers, not imposed, solution is rested in the teacher, systematic procedures necessary, and issue to be derived from teachers' experience, and ideas once tested to lead to some action. So reflexive action to redefine relationship between methodology and reflection. Reflection is a process to integrate theory and practice, link between learned knowledge and practice. Reflection is more than thinking, focuses on day-to-day classroom teaching, improvement through reflection, process aimed at becoming critically reflective teacher. So there are some skills for good reflective teachers like self-initiated inquiry, reinforce point of strength, improve weak points, incorporates new theories in teaching, openness and keep openness and creativity, and develop himself or herself through reading, conferences and workshops, discussion with colleagues. All about this lecture. Being with me, stay blessed, Allah Hafiz.